The reflection that wasn't mine. I never liked mirrors, not in the superstitious way. Just something about them always made me uncomfortable. Maybe because I grew up in a house that had too many of them. Mirrors in the hallways, the living room, even one in my bedroom, an old full-length mirror my mother refused to get rid of. She always said, "It's been in the family for generations." But I hated it, and after what happened, I wish we had thrown it out. The first glitch. I was 16 when I noticed something was off. One night as I got into bed, I turned to glance at the mirror across the room. That's when I saw it. My reflection blinked too late. I had already shut my eyes, but in the glass, I was still staring back at myself. I told myself I was imagining things, that my brain was just tired. But over the next few weeks, it got worse. I'd wake up in the middle of the night and see movement in the mirror. Not my reflection, something else, something inside the glass. The whispering one. Night I woke up to a noise, a faint scratching sound. It was coming from the mirror. I sat up slowly, my stomach tight with fear. The room was dark, except for the dim glow of my alarm clock. But in the mirror, I could see someone standing behind me, a shadowy shape, too tall, too thin. I spun around. Nothing was there. My room was empty. But when I looked back at the mirror, the figure was still there, closer. The night it broke. That was the first night I slept with my lights on, but it didn't stop. Every night I felt it watching. The whispering got louder. It started saying my name. One night I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed a blanket, threw it over the mirror, and tried to sleep. But around 3 a.m., I woke up again. My room felt wrong. That's when I realized the blanket was on the floor, the mirror was uncovered, and my reflection was still sitting up, still looking at me. And then it smiled. The aftermath, I screamed. I don't remember much after that, just my parents running in, flipping on the lights. The mirror was shattered across the floor. They said I must have knocked it over in my sleep, but I know the truth. I never touched it. We threw out the pieces the next day, and for a while things were normal. But sometimes when I pass by a mirror, for just a second, I see my reflection smiling at me, even when my face is perfectly still. The thing in the trees. I love hiking. Being alone in the woods, away from everything, helps clear my head. But after what happened last fall, I don't go alone anymore. The trail that wasn't there. I was hiking in a national park, following a well-marked trail. The sun was setting, and I knew I had about an hour to get back to my car. That's when I saw it, a second trail leading off the main path. I'd hiked this area before, but I'd never noticed that turn. There was no signpost, no markers, just a narrow dirt path leading into the trees, and for some reason, I felt like I was meant to go that way. The silence. At first, everything was normal, birds chirping, the wind rustling the leaves. But the deeper I went, the quieter it got. After about 10 minutes, there was nothing. No birds, no wind, just absolute suffocating silence. I stopped walking. That's when I noticed there were no footprints on the trail, not mine, not anyone's. Like no one had ever walked this path before. Then, somewhere behind me, twigs snapped. Something was following me. I turned fast, my heart hammering. Nothing there, but I felt it. Something watching. I picked up the pace, walking faster, trying to shake the feeling. But after a few more minutes, I realized something terrifying. The trail was gone. The path I was following had just faded into untouched forest. No clear way forward, no way back. Like the woods had swallowed it whole. The whisper panic set in. I reached for my phone. No signal. I turned around trying to retrace my steps, but every tree looked the same. Then right next to my ear, a voice whispered,
"You're not supposed to be here."
I ran. I didn't care where. I just ran. Branches tore at my skin. My breath came in ragged gasps, but I kept going until I burst onto the main trail. Just like that, the sounds came back. Birds, wind, life. I looked back. The trail I had just come from, it wasn't there. Just solid forest, like it had never existed. The last detail, I made it back to my car and drove home, trying to convince myself I had imagined it. But later that night, as I was lying in bed, my phone buzzed. A notification. One new photo saved to your camera roll. My hands were shaking as I opened it. It was a picture, blurry, dark, taken from the trees, of me, running. There's someone in the vents. I live alone in a small apartment. Nothing fancy, just a one-bedroom place on the 3rd floor. Safe neighborhood, secure locks. At least that's what I thought. The first clue. It started with small things. I'd wake up and find my fridge door slightly open, even though I knew I closed it the night before. Lights I turned off would be on again when I got home. At first, I blamed myself. Maybe I was just being forgetful. Maybe I was too tired to notice. Then one night, I woke up to a noise, a soft, metallic creaking, like something moving inside the walls. The breathing, I held my breath, listening. The sound was coming from the vent near the ceiling. It wasn't the air conditioner. It was too slow, too deliberate. Then, clear as day, I heard breathing. The discovery. I didn't sleep after that. The next morning, I grabbed a flashlight and unscrewed the vent cover. At first, I didn't see anything, just dust and darkness. But then, something caught my eye. A small plastic wrapper. I reached in and pulled it out. It was from a granola bar. I don't eat granola bars. My stomach turned. That's when I noticed the fingerprints on the inside of the vent. Someone had been crawling through there. The footsteps. That night I locked every door, every window, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't alone. Around 2 a.m., I heard it again, a slow, shuffling sound coming from the vents. Then suddenly, a soft thud, like someone had dropped down into my apartment. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. I just lay there, heart pounding. Then, from the darkness of my hallway, I heard bare feet against the floor, moving toward my room, the escape. I lunged for my phone and turned on the flashlight. The footsteps stopped. I was too scared to get up, too scared to move. After what felt like hours, I finally got the courage to check the apartment. Nothing. But when I looked up at the vent, it was open again. The last detail. The landlord had the vents checked the next day. They found signs of someone living inside. Old blankets, food wrappers, even a small notebook with my name written inside it. I moved out that week, but sometimes in the middle of the night, I swear I still hear breathing.